Katie, I am going to turn it over to you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Claudia. Hi, everybody. I'm Katie. I've been working with Portside for almost a year now. It seems like, I think almost a year now. I just recently received my master's degree from the Pig Iron School. I am now working in devising. I'm working as a theater educator, going into freelance work, and I've been making some stuff. So I thought I might open it up by showing a couple of videos from recent works and then talk a little bit about process. Does that sound cool? Great. Well, it's my show now, so that's what we're doing.
You do you, Katie. Sounds great.
So one of the things I've become really interested in as an artist is this idea of connection, especially in the past year with the pandemic. And just trying to figure out new and different ways to connect with other people. So one of the projects that I did last year was called the Artful Exchange Project. And basically what it was is I sent out a questionnaire to friends and family and other artists to see places they wanted to see in Philly that they maybe couldn't get to. And then I had them decide what artistic medium they wanted to see performed. And then I created an artistic piece specifically for them. So it was all one-on-one, and we got on Zoom or we got on FaceTime or what have you. So I performed live in the space that they chose, doing the medium that they decided that they wanted to see from me. So I have a little kind of trailer for the work that I did. I did 17 exchanges in all, and they're actually all up on my website, but I have this here. Let me see if I can make this full screen. Perfect. Okay. Share my screen. Share this. All right, everybody can see that? Good, cool. All right, let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay.
Hello! Hey, Dr. Ashley! Oh my gosh, I miss it! There we go, yeah. Ooh, cool. Here, take my smoke break to work, and I sit on that. I get that. I love it. I love it. That's great. Everything is art, right? That's right. Everything is art. Hello. How are y'all doing? Fabulous. Thank you. Having a great time. $11.48. Make this. I don't know if you can see all of it. I call it Rorschach Couture. Nobody knows you. Nobody gives a damn. Oops. A playlist. Oh my God. Some of it I know that you've heard of. Some of it you may not have. I don't really know what I'm doing, so. humble clown nose. Envision a world full. Well, you'll love Philadelphia. It's very similar.
It's sort of like an archaeologist, like way back when, they used these blocks in the Studio C. I can take the fire out from the wire. I'd share a life and you'd share a life. If I could take the fire out from the wire, I'd share a life and you'd share a life. If I could take the fire out from the wire, I'd take you in the
So much god-awful shit is going to be produced because of COVID. And also so much beautiful shit, too. Yes, so much beautiful shit. You're right. You are absolutely
So it was like a lot more fun and like emotional than I was expecting.
I think I'm done working out now. Let's do one last look. There she is. That's for you.
So that was a fun project that I got to work on last year. And it was really cool. It was a really awesome way to learn more about the specific people that I was making art for and really try to find a way to like make a connection with them. I did some weird stuff in public places for that, but I think it was it was really cool. It was a good time. There was a lot of juggling technology with that one, which is a new thing for me. This past year, I purchased a GoPro, I've purchased a DSLR camera, and I'm trying to make forays into digital work. And it's been interesting to say the least. Theater and digital are not quite the same thing. But because of COVID and because of so many limitations placed on in-person gatherings, it became kind of essential, especially finishing my master's degree, to do something that I could do digitally. And so this past fall, I started working on a new project called the Bryan Project. And it's about this town called Bryan, Ohio. Oh, hi, Kim. It's about this town called Bryan, Ohio. It happens to be where I was born. Spent the first 3 years of my life, and I had never been back. Hi, Kim. And I was really curious about this place. It's a tiny town in like the northwest corner of Ohio. It's almost Indiana. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't have any sort of ties or family connections, but for some reason, curiosity struck, and I got really interested in figuring out what this place was all about. So I wound up going to Bryan in October. And I have, oh, hi, Paulina. And I have another little video of my time there and kind of how this project evolved. I realized talking about it and then showing the trailer is a little redundant, so I'm just going to show the trailer. And I think that kind of gives you the gist of how this came to be and how it went down. Let me find.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, how are you?
I didn't want you to think I was ignoring you.
No, not at all. Not at all. Hi, Kim.
It takes us old people a little bit to figure out the controls.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. So I'm going to share my screen again, show another short little video about this other project that I started working on. Oh, doesn't let me make this full screen. Sorry.
I'm gonna try to film for a second. Hi, my name is Katie Butler, and I am making a piece about home. I frankly have no idea. Hi, my name is Katie Butler. This project is about pretty backdrops. My name is Katie Butler, and this is a project about being on time.
The drawback of coming in here with less of a plan is that I have less of a plan.
Hi, my name is Katie Butler. This project is about Bryan, Ohio. I was born in a town in Northwest Ohio called Bryan. There's the Bryan sign. I am going to go back to Bryan. I'm going to find hopefully the house that I lived in. I'm going to see where my parents worked. It does not look super open. So in conclusion, this is the wooded area where the house that I lived in used to be. So I have found the Bryan High School Theater Department page on Facebook. They don't have one on their website. But the benefit of Facebook is that I can message them directly. So I am going to message them and see if they would be willing to let me drop in while I'm in town. I'm trying to figure out what to say. So let's see here. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Betsy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to chat with you today. I appreciate it.
You are quite welcome. This is an intriguing project you're working on.
Gosh, I hope so.
So we have a beautiful square. It's the county seat and a beautiful courthouse right downtown. I don't know if you remember anything. You probably don't. You're so young.
No, yeah, it's.
And you'll enjoy walking around and looking around town. It's a nice area.
All right. The famed John's Donuts.
Let's throw down.
I don't know. Those roots are really, they're really deep. And coming here as an outsider, I was like, what am I going to find here? And what am I going to see? And I'm just, there's so much talent because of that too.
I mean, if that's what this is about, and I feel like it is, I feel like it's about connection and community. Like that was really poignant for both of us last night.
Yeah.
It would be cool to have you guys record stuff, like even with your iPhones, like maybe your favorite place or a memory that you have, something that connects you to the town, and like just kind of send stuff into me.
Yeah.
And I can put together. You think that's something you'd be
cool.
into doing? Setting myself the task of getting to know this town in a few days during COVID times is impossible. And I think it would be better if it was presented through the eyes of the people that live here. And I really think that's the better way to get to know like the heart of this town. I wonder how many people we can get to send us stuff.
I just think I was pleasantly surprised at the, really because it's such a small community maybe, that they want to foster those things and create opportunities for their kids.
Yeah, actually, I don't want to sound dorky, but my family has been in Bryan since 1863.
Whoa.
We're one of the first families of Williams County.
Wow.
I knew I was someplace that cared about the whole county, that cared about the arts.
But you just told me.
I have a feeling this is not the last time I'll be in Bryan.
Yeah.
I kind of want to like pursue this to the largest scale that I can and just see what happens. Couldn't hurt, right?
Sure.
So that was trailer for the Bryan project. Since that visit, I was able to get in touch with several artists and business owners in Bryan and conduct interviews with them. So it's been kind of like a slow build of interviews and seeing what other avenues I can take. It's a little bit slowed down now just because of COVID and trying to get back out there. It's hard with vaccinations and stuff. So I'm waiting until maybe late summer, early fall to try to get back out there to continue working on that project. So yeah, in the meantime, I'm just kind of hanging out, doing some little collaborations with some friends. And I'm really interested in the infrastructure of Philadelphia. So I'm kind of messing around with that idea and seeing how I can personify the myriad issues of our fair city. So that, yeah, I don't know. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, Katie.
Yeah.
You silly worm, you're doing an amazing job with the children of Philadelphia.
Thank you.
You're enlightening them and helping them become successful and mentoring them. You're an amazing teacher, and we're just so proud to have you with us.
Oh, I appreciate that.
At the board side, yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been really interested in creative process and what that looks like and how that's different for everybody. I've been thinking a lot about how we consume media and how we can be more intentional about the way that we, as artists and as creatives and as creators, how we pick and choose the media that we consume. Because I think with creative process, nothing exists in a vacuum and nothing is born in a vacuum. Everything is inspired by something. So how do you, as an artist, figure out what you're interested in and let your impulses and your imagination kind of drive you into learning more about the world around you? So that's where I'm at. I'm in a very much processy kind of mode, and I'm really interested in that whole idea. So,
yeah, the process is really cool. Like a lot of people, artists and not artists, like you really don't think about the process a whole lot unless you like look at the painting and you say, like, as an artist, geez, like I wonder how they made that. And and the process, especially with children, in building confidence and stuff, like you do a great job directing the kids to do a certain project. And then also how it's amazing how you give them all the same supplies and they all come out with totally different outcomes. And the process is what's so interesting, and seeing the feelings that the child goes through as they're completing the art, and if they get emotional about it, if they feel it's not good enough. And you can tell so much about that individual child just by the way their process goes with art.
Absolutely. And I think it is really interesting too, having spent so much time at Portside now, amongst more visual artists, which I'm not primarily a visual artist. It is really interesting to kind of see the difference in mediums and how mediums are approached. Like with theater and devising in particular, it's process, all process all the time. We have like classes on group dynamics and how do you function as an ensemble and what's your hierarchy and how do you make decisions? How do you do X, Y, and Z? And that has nothing to do with your product. And so like getting into that world kind of makes you a process nerd. And it was really eye-opening when I got out of graduate school and started looking at other artists and especially other mediums, like, oh, other people don't really pay attention to their process, or they don't know where their ideas come from or how they cultivate ideas and projects and how they further things. And I think by just being intentional about your own process and understanding how your process works, I think that can make you an infinitely better artist.
It makes the piece of art more interesting too, in my opinion. If the art has even just a small thing like a title, I think it makes it right there 100% more interesting, because then the person who's looking at the art looks at the art and then they see the artist's interpretation of what they, their opinion on the title, what the title should be. And it actually leads them in a direction to maybe envision the art in a different way had they not seen a title.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
And I've been, one of the things I really, an art form that I found that I really loved when I was in school is Buffon. And Buffon is like a dirty, mean clown. And they were traditionally like the dregs of society. They were the outcasts. They're deformed. They have, missing teeth. They're disgusting. And every year they would come out and they would put on shows that would essentially make fun of the higher echelon of people and royalty. And they were allowed to do this because they were so grotesque themselves that people felt okay laughing at them. But honestly, the bouffant is the smartest person in the room. They see everything, they know everything, and they draw you in and get you comfortable laughing at things maybe you wouldn't normally laugh at, and then hold the mirror up and show you, oh, this is what you think about these things. This is, you really think that this is funny. Well, here's why it's not funny. And it's a really fine line. Sacha Baron Cohen is a great example of an amazing bouffant. He is a phenomenal bouffant. He absolutely takes these concepts and he turns them on their head, and he gets people to admit horribly embarrassing things about themselves. Like, he traps them, but he also makes people fall in love with him and his characters. Like, he makes people trust him and lull them into complacency until he attacks and shows them for who they really are. I don't think I could ever or would ever want to go that far. He's gotten his butt kicked in public more times than I would ever care to. I'm gonna take a big pass on that. But I do love that idea. And so it's been a really interesting thing to kind of explore as a performer, and like that's where process really comes into play, and like really understanding what your critique is as an artist. I have an idea that I'm working with right now. It's a garbage fairy, because we all know Philly has a garbage problem. Like, there's just not enough money for enough trucks, for enough garbage trucks, street sweepers. Well, there is the money, it's just not being allocated where it needs to be. And so I have this character that I'm working on that is kind of a personification of this ill. But like the really dicey thing when you go into that world is like, well, I don't want to make the critique seem like I'm blaming the citizens for this problem and that it's their fault that this is like this, because that's not the critique you want to make. But you want to try to figure out how you can really hone in on what the actual problem is and how you can get people to respond to it and to want to do something about it, right? So that's really kind of like the very scary fine line you have to walk, and it's a really uncomfortable place to be as an artist, which I think is really fun and exciting.
Yes, yes. That kind of reminds me off topic a little bit. I've collected these, I think they're Punch and Judy or Punch and, it's the
Yeah, the old
English.
Punch and Judy shows, the old puppets.
Well, no, this isn't it, that I'm getting it wrong. I thought it's an old English political satire that was in the papers, and I picked up a mess of them at an auction. Oh my goodness, 30 years ago. I'll have to bring them into you. And it's like political satire, and and it's definitely English. I'm thinking, goodness,
the Punch and Judy shows started in like, I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's like 1600s as traveling puppet shows. And that's what they did. It was all satirical. It was all like way over the top. Really kind of offensive stuff, but because it was puppets at the time doing it, it was okay. And so I'm sure they adapted that to paper in some form or fashion.
Yeah, I'll bring them in. I always wondered, they were just like, some of them are really cool. They're probably collector's items. I'll bring them in next time I see you, hon.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see that. I bet that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's about all I have, unless anybody has any questions about my ridiculous art.
It's not ridiculous. I think it was really cool. I think we have to go back to our, roots somewhere. There's one of my favorite reggae songs by Bob Marley. It's gosh, I forget. I've heard it 6 million times, but you can't move forward until you know where you came from. You can't,
I was actually surprised by how pretty and quaint Brian is. The way you described it, I was like picturing it as this like nowhere little town with like not much in it, but it was really nice. Beautiful. When you said, I think I'm going to come back to Brian, I thought you were going to say that you were going to move there.
I don't know if I go that far.
But yeah, I like, I think what I liked most about that project is that you had a process in mind. You had a plan to go there and to see these things. And the project kind of just took like a completely different form. And that's like the beautiful thing about art, you know, like sometimes things don't go the way you plan, but like it turns into a completely different thing. That's like really, really cool. Did you feel sad when your home didn't exist anymore, or?
I think there was like a little twinge of disappointment. A lot of that impulse and impetus to want to see my childhood home and to want to see where my father worked and stuff was because I didn't get to know my dad as an adult. You know, he had Alzheimer's through most of my 20s. He passed when I was 28. And there was this whole side of him that I didn't get to know him as like a person, like a guy, you know, I just knew him as my dad. And that was the only frame of reference I had for him. So, it really started as a really personal exploration. And then when it all fell apart so quickly, it was really, really quickly, just as quickly lifted up by, these theater kids and this theater teacher. And that really kind of, it was the salve that made switching gears really.
And instead of like focusing on the past, you were now in the present. And like it was such a great time to connect with these kids, like during COVID, you know?
Yeah, it was. It really was very serendipitous. I was really nervous that I wasn't going to get a response from the theater teacher. Her name's Betsy. We still are in contact. She's wonderful. But like, not only was I welcomed with open arms, they gave me their entire rehearsal. They let me workshop with the kids. Like it worked out so well for them because usually apparently they bring someone in at least once a year to enrich the students in some way. And they decided they weren't going to do that. They weren't going to reach out for anybody. And then of course I went knocking on their door asking if I could hang out with their kids. So
it was actually, it was meant to be.
Yes, it was meant to be. So that was a really, it wound up not being disappointing at all. It happened so quickly. And like the workshop with the students was literally the first thing I did when I got there. The way that the scheduling worked out, I got to my days in room at like 4. And then at 6, I started teaching a workshop that same night.
Wow.
So it all kind of, it happened the way it was supposed to happen, I guess, you know.
How old were you when you moved to Texas?
3. I was 3.
Okay. So. Maybe you can do something similar, a project going back to Texas.
Well, that's a whole other can of worms. Texas is not my favorite place in the world, as it turns out.
So I've heard from you.
And I think it's all connotative. Like it doesn't mean that Texas is a terrible place. I don't think that Texas is a terrible place. I have a lot of personal baggage that makes me not want to deal with it. But like with Brian, it was almost a clean slate. I had no memories of this place. I'm oddly connected to this tiny little town. And so I got to kind of make my own map for it. And Texas has already been etched in stone. So maybe there's a future Texas plan, but going back and digging through the past of that one is.
What's that saying, Katie? All my exes live in Texas.
All my exes live in Texas. It's true. It is.
So that's a song.
Yes, it is a song. Yeah, I think my main focus now, like something with the Artful Exchange project, is just figuring out how I can make art simply and connect with people. Like that's really what it kind of boils down to that very little bit. So yeah.
We used to have a very successful theater program, Katie.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to goodness, I'd say 2009, I think it started. And we would be turning people away. We had the younger group and the older kids, and then they put on like a really cool play every year. And then we had such an amazing teacher, Heather Owens Allen. Hi, Heather. She was just really maintained the class and the families, the relationships, and it was just an awesome experience. And then when she started her family, we had other amazing teachers, but we just were never able to retain. But I think maybe in the future somewhere, I would love for you to conduct some type of, children's theater group there. And we also have been offered like all the schools, auditoriums if
Mhm.
we, once this COVID deal is over, that we can have our play in auditorium. So keep that in
Definitely.
mind and start perhaps making some plans for the future. I would love to have a theater
Yeah.
class again. Yeah.
And I've done traveling children's shows. It's a lot of fun. It's crazy intense. But it is really cool. When I was teaching high school, my high school kids would do a children's show. We were one of 3 high schools in the district. And it was always our school for like 25 years. Every year they would put on a children's show, and like all 25 elementary school students, first and second grade, would come for like throughout the week, and they would come to our giant auditorium and watch a children's show. And then the last year I was there, we traveled it to the different schools. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun though, and it's really cool too, especially to get to do it with younger, for younger audiences, because that's their first exposure to theater. Like kids that would never get exposed to theater otherwise because of the crazy inaccessibility in this country for the arts, which is just gross and is a whole other topic. It's a way to inspire kids that there's just no way they've had access to that in any other context. And so, yeah, I would love to do something like that, because
And with us being an arts center and with your art experience, we could also enjoy for them to also make their own sets and stuff, which we've done before.
Yep.
And then also, their costumes and stuff, but it all depends on how far we want to take it. If we want to involve Madison in it with her design capabilities and go the whole 9 yards, and we could really have a really cool production,
Yeah, you could absolutely. And I've done that I did that for a couple of years, and it's a lot of fun. And making sets that are travelable is a really fun kind of interesting quandary to have.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no,
like
it's
theater in the park, that would be really awesome.
yes, absolutely. I've done that too.
The classes could be in the park. I mean, that could be really cool. I mean, we have to adapt now with our current situation. So instead of waiting for things to get better, because we don't really know when that's going to ever happen again.
Right.
So just maybe plan something, we can do like outside, which would be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would love to do that. And I think, I know I've got something coming up with the Markheim Art Center. I'll be doing like a 9-week session with them on Saturdays coming up soon. And I'll be working with kids doing process workshops, physical theater workshops for like every Saturday for like 2 hours. Which is going to
share the contact information.
Yeah, sure. I have.
Can you put it in the chat in case someone is interested?
Yeah, I don't think I have the link for the Markheim yet. She's still working on the marketing for that, the woman that I'm in contact with over there. But I do have other stuff in the works.
Maybe just their phone number, or just a way for people to get in touch, or the website perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that. Let me find it here. Yeah, I'm really excited about it. And then I'll be doing summer camps too. I'll be teaching summer camps at various institutions, which is going to be really awesome.
Yeah.
So let me copy this.
We'd like you to go other places, because then when you come back to us, you say, oh my gosh, Portside's wonderful.
Well, and I can take everything that I've done to other places.
Yeah, we like the kids to go other places too, because then they appreciate us more when they come back, because they always come back.
Yeah, I'm excited to be getting out and doing more theater teaching, which is I'm really excited. It's been too long since I've been out of the classroom doing theater stuff, so it's going to be really cool. And I think it's also really interesting to the mindset of visual arts institutions versus theater institutions, because I've been in contact with several of them at this point, and their theater institutions are really interested in the process workshops and like, oh yeah, let's do physical improv, let's do that, and no one has asked me what the product is going to be. And that makes me so happy, because it's just a way for students to enjoy the process and getting comfortable with these principles and getting on stage and interacting with each other and figuring out, how they can be performers without having to worry about, oh, I have a show coming up in, 3 weeks or whatever. So I think that's a really cool way to approach it. I like the low stakes of figuring out theater stuff.
Cool. Well, you're in your element now, huh?
Yeah.
And all kinds of fun stuff in your plans. So that's good. Your future looks rosy.
Yes, thank
Katie.
you.
Does anyone have any more questions for Katie?
Claudia, your hair looks very lovely today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I haven't washed in about 4 days, so thank you very much.
Works for you.
It always happens, doesn't it?
Well, Katie, thank you so much for being with us. It was really, really great to
Katie.
see
Thank
your
you.
work.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Katie. I really enjoyed seeing all of your stuff
Thanks, Sarah.
and learning about you. And yeah, we'll have to chat more and talk about everything because it's really cool to see. Because it was really cool to talk to you while you're doing this process, and it's just really great to see some of the final work. I think it's really obvious and like how much you've grown as a performer and as an artist during this time. I think that it really shows in your work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm gonna do something shameless and drop my website in the chat.
Please do. Yes.
I've got all my past work. I've got upcoming stuff and all kinds of fun goodies in there.
Website. I checked it all out.
That's good, Katie. That's why we record all this good stuff and give you the link and send it out to your friends. And it's about, us helping, performing artists, visual artists, teaching artists to get their stuff out there and, put your link here, put your link there, and definitely self-promote. You have to, sweetheart.
Thank you very much, Kim. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you,
thanks everyone for coming. Join us in 2 weeks. We will be hearing from artist Joanne Moy.